This is Time to Grow. And here's your host, Kyle Marsham.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with a special guest. I don't know, the first time we met, I was like, this guy controls products going into Google, Facebook, Netflix, like all these amazing office. I was stunned. I was like so excited to talk to you. Right. So we're here with James, the CEO, founder of Mindful Snacks. And the mission of Mindful is to get better for you, healthy products to the workplace, right, to the offices. And you kind of saw a gap in the market a few years ago. So why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about Mindful and that kind of journey, and then we can I definitely want to dive into kind of your career at Freshie and how that evolved into what you've built today, and maybe some of the troubles along the way, COVID, health scares, and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Kyle. And so I'm James, founder and CEO of Mindful Snacks. So Mindful Snacks, what do we do? We're essentially a wellness company focused in improving workplace culture and productivity through positive eating and snacking.
Wow, that's like a perfect statement. You have that
Yeah.
you have that do you have that written down in the office? No, because it's really what you're doing. And when I did some research on why you started Mindful, it was there's this gap. It's like these large offices, tech offices, whatever it may be, they're eating crap.
Yeah,
Right? Chocolate
absolutely.
bars, chips. And then you had the aha moment of like, I can change this. And like, I know the people. I worked at Freshie.
Mhm.
There's a drive for consumers to do this. And then on the flip side of it, the tech offices, the owners want to keep their employees in the office longer. They don't want them to get sick, so
Yeah.
they need to be eating healthier. When did the journey start to pivot your career almost entirely?
Yeah. So my first big major career was at Freshie. Started in operations, moving my way up eventually to head up supply chain globally. And interesting enough, coincidentally enough, over the next few years at Freshie, had this project assigned to me in how do we incremental sales through each unit at Freshie. And at that moment, it was, you can offer an extended menu or snacks. And I went the route with snacks, being Freshie, a healthy brand. We had started sourcing various new healthy snacks, and part of that project was evaluating where our customers were coming from, how far they were coming from, how much time they were spending to come to find a Freshie store to just grab, let's say, a Cliff Bar or a Kind Bar. And through that evaluation, we were just really shocked that people were coming, 1 block up to 3 blocks, killing their 30-minute, 45-minute lunchtime period to come for a snack. And even if it wasn't lunch, they were just taking their 15-minute break and walking over to a Freshie. That literally a light bulb came on board, came to mind, and said, if these people are coming, like how much potential productivity and loss of time at work was happening. And so throughout my time at Freshie and through my travels, I started seeing companies pop up, particularly in the US, a lot of e-commerce base, order online, drop at the door, a lot of vending companies, a lot of coffee companies that were just slowly entering the snack space, but no one was really focused on healthier snacks. And we're not talking about a product that might have oats in there, and but the sugar levels are skyrocket. Truly focused on clean ingredients, and on top of that was the service piece. I didn't want to have an office manager be tied up doing what I wanted to do, which was full service. We help manage companies, restocking, the deliveries, the procurement side, tracking the consumption, and as essentially it's hands off for the office once we secure the account. And for me, that was an idea that I believed could work. No one at that time was doing it in Canada, so I took the leap, resigned from a great job, great pay, and started Mindful Snacks.
When did you start at Freshie? Was it before they had, like, how many locations do they have today? They must have, like, they're on every corner, it seems,
Yeah,
at this
they're
point.
they're in the hundreds. I could be wrong on the count. I haven't seen what their last count, but they're in the several hundreds, probably 400 plus units around the world. I came on board when there were only 5 corporate stores.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like seeing? Because they were kind of like there was obviously healthier options in that like fast food environment.
Hmm.
But it must have been exciting to be a part of that transition, right? And it was like, how many years ago was that? When did you start at Freshie?
Oh, geez, I guess 2012, around that time, 2010. Oh no, sorry, not 2012. That's when I
2012 when you
started.
started
Yes,
Mindful.
yes. So, geez, it's been about 7 years back from there. Yes,
Wow. Yeah. So that was like a pivotal moment in consumers transitioning to better for you, right? That's
absolutely.
when there was massive growth, like in Loblaw's natural value.
Hmm.
Whole Foods was adding store counts. Like it was really starting to take off. And then what was that specific role that you played at Freshie? Because I think that helped um, iron out your skill set for going to Mindful and starting that business, right?
Absolutely. So I started out as director of operations, and then and that was for the Canadian market. Eventually, uh, also being director of operations of North America, then moving my way up into supply chain, which was VP of product innovation. Yes, and
So
so
you have that role, and you say, "I'm going to leave this very successful job." That'd be a
Mhm.
very, very successful job for anybody to start this entrepreneurial journey, right? So
Yes.
it was pretty exciting. Were you building out business plans and creating kind of the blueprint for Mindful during that transition, or did you just have that gut feeling and you're like, "I'm going to do this and go full at it"?
That's a good question. I actually wasn't 100% sure what I was gonna do. I knew I wanted to do something on my own. I've always dreamed of doing something my own. My family comes from a very entrepreneurial background. I would say everyone in my family except my father um, uh, has been an entrepreneur in starting up a food business.
Wow.
And then all the way to my brothers, who runs a successful VC firm out of Boston. But knowing that I wanted to start my own, I knew that you gotta take the leap if you want to
Mhm.
try it. And so once I took the leap, the first thing I did actually was I'm going to take a break. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So had some downtime, and it was so good. It was so good just to have a break, and um and during that time it was just really allowed me to think it through. How what I what was going to be Mindful Snacks, how was what did we want our clients to know about us, and really define the whole purpose of Mindful Snacks. But in terms of sort of, I guess, planning the stages of Mindful Snacks, um, I told myself that although I thought that the idea was great, but there needed to be a validation that there was a market for it. So over the next 6 months, we actually approached companies who were willing to take on our small program at the time. And that deal was, I'm going to give you free snacks in exchange for employee data. Essentially, what I wanted was being the ability to survey their employees on, is this something that you would enjoy having mindful snacks? Not just about, hey, do you like this bar versus this bar? Would you be inclined and would you be drawn if your employer had this every single day? What we did testing all the way to even looking at a specific segment such as breakfast. Would you come into work earlier, 1 hour earlier, 30 minutes earlier, if suddenly yogurt was offered? Would yogurt consumption increase if now I offered berries on the side? So we did a lot of testing, and that data that we received was valuable. And essentially after 6 months, I felt, okay, you know what? There's good enough data here that I feel confident that there is a market for mindful snacks.
And was it skewed to the side that you anticipated, right? Was it most people wanted healthier options and then it increased productivity? They came to work earlier, like
Absolutely. People wanted it, but I think at the time, because we were so early in launching mindful snacks, people didn't really understand or know what to expect and how in depth mindful eating could be.
yeah, because then your whole sales pitch to the senior team that you have to basically get to buy into purchasing from Mindful
Mhm.
is now you have all this data. They're like, we
Yes.
just surveyed all of your employees, and with almost 100%, they want this. They'll stay longer. They'll work harder for you. They'll be more productive. They'll generate more results.
Yeah.
Right? How do you say no to that?
Yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
and it probably just costs you a little bit of money. The cost of the products. You could probably
Mhm.
negotiate deals with the vendors on the other side as an
Yeah.
initial test,
Yes.
and then there's no cost to you,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So what did the actual model look like early on? Because I'm sure it evolved, right? You were full service. You went in, merchandised, um, cleaned the shelves, all
Mhm.
of the above. What was that whole model at the very beginning?
In the very beginning, wanted to try to keep it as simple as possible. And it was really, the goal was, is this working? That was the first question. And how we're going to do it was to keeping the product selection very tight, meaning we only had, I think, 10 products at the time, and it was 4 trail mixes, some fresh fruit, and a couple bars. And we kept true to what I set out to do, which was full service. So from the very get go, um, we would manage the order. Well, first we would sit down with the client and define what are their expectations, what are they hoping to get out of this, what is some of the wish lists that they hope to see us delivering. And we took some of those into consideration. Of course, with only 10 products at the time, there's only so much flexibility we could do. But we delivered a product, we stocked it for the office, we cleaned it down, we cleaned the fridges. We literally took product out of their fridges and cleaned their fridges once a week for them. And we put it back in, we tracked the data. And again, back then, it's not no fancy apps or sophisticated software, but it was like literally just pen and paper. Count how many kind bars there are, how many trail mixes there are, and then taking that data to create the next day's order or next week's order.
How did you even get the opportunity to pitch to the likes of Google, Amazon, Netflix, right? Because that's the biggest thing that I was inspired about when we first chatted was like, if I can get my brands into like that's a huge win,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were able to tackle that for that's your whole business model, right? So
Yes.
how did you go about getting that done?
Yeah. So again, I'm thinking back to my career at Freshie. Absolutely no regrets in terms of working for the brand, and I'm so grateful to even have that opportunity. And throughout my time at Freshie was, in that role of VP of supply chain, I had that opportunity to meet so many brand partners that continue to be our brand partners today. And one that I can tell you that really catapulted us to land the tech giants was this amazing granola brand. Sanfranola granola still exists today, but they wanted to test their product while I was at Freshie. They had this idea, but the product wasn't ready. And when I had left, they had found that, okay, James has gone to launch his own mindful company. Reached out, we reconnected, and they're like, look, do you think we can get our granola into mindful snacks? And you gotta remember, back then I'm just starting out. I have no idea how to even get a product across the border. I'm like,
it's not as easy as you think. There's like fees, there's people you got to talk to, there's border broker, there's contracts you got to sign. It's very complicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's still complicated today.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, I'm not really looking at getting having a product across the border at the moment. Why don't you circle back with me? And once I'm ready, absolutely, because I think your product would be a great fit. So the founders were like, James, what if I can get you into LinkedIn within 1 week? Because LinkedIn has mandated our granola all across their offices. I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And it was, I was just so surprised that, number one, they were, they promised and they did what they said. And what was most amazing is we were in LinkedIn's office within 36 hours of that conversation.
To meet with them.
Wow. And within 1 week later, contracts signed. And we were in there.
Just with the one brand, or you signed a contract as
as a whole snack provider.
So was LinkedIn the first that you started with?
It was. And from once we landed LinkedIn, I told myself that, wow, this is a super large company. I want to make it right. We're going to go through all the possible processes to work out all the kinks. And as much as maybe some people would have told us that we were crazy not to then go after new clients right away, to me, it was like, let's turn LinkedIn into a champion of our service and products. So we only exclusively worked with LinkedIn for the next 3 months.
Wow.
And after that, I think it paid off. They loved our service and products, and that just led to our next 2 clients. Second was Google, and third was eBay. And with those 3 clients alone, we started getting referrals and new business.
How does it work when a new tech giant wants to establish their head office in Toronto? Do you have to go like hunt them down, or do you get referred? How does that? Because Amazon, they're popping up everywhere, right? Like when Netflix came, how did you get the foot in the door? Or was it purely just recommendation and word of mouth?
It works both ways. Certainly, a lot of our customers from early on up to today has continued to refer us, as well as just my team and myself, sort of keeping up with the industry news and seeing who's coming into Canada and opening up their offices, or which existing tech firm is suddenly going to become the next unicorn.
How did it evolve from like the day one when you walked into LinkedIn? Because I'm sure as you saw the cafes, what they look like, to how you transition them. Was it all high sugar, high carb products, and then you kind of slowly revamped it with those 10 products, or what did that look like?
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, first off, I was just amazed of how beautiful their office was.
Yeah, they're
You know,
gorgeous.
it's like, wow, I've never seen an amazing office like with entertainment, pool tables, ping pong, and unlimited snacks and catered food. I was just like
You'd
so
never leave.
blown. I was so blown away
Yeah.
with it. And I was like, here's a great opportunity for us into trying to change the way uh, they are eating today. And so what we saw was exactly to your point, a lot of sugary foods, anywhere from cereals to bars, tons of really tons of traditional junk food brands, from candy to chocolate. And we took baby steps essentially. We didn't expect.
Can't scare people.
Yeah, yeah. We understand it's going to take time for
Yeah.
people to shift what they eat and how they eat. And so over time, it was just slowly integrating our SKUs into their office.
What goes into that selection process for choosing brands to be a part of Mindful?
Quite a few factors. So first off is you know, we want to learn everything about your brand. Where is it being sold today? Is there a demand within our clientele? Is there a gap that we may have in our product offering? As an example, for the longest time, we were looking for more protein bars. And so maybe it's something easy yes to the brand. You know what? We'll take your brand because it's going to solve an instant issue. But most importantly, because of our brand being mindful, is we've got to check out your ingredient deck, and your the length of your ingredient list as well comes into play. But what are some of the product attributes that you have, such as are you vegan? Are you gluten-free, organic? You don't, as a brand, you don't have to check every single list, but it is critical to have a brand that is made of better for you ingredients. And lastly, it's really, we want to know the founder's story, and that's we love founder stories, but there are certain times where just a founder story becomes so inspiring for us, where sometimes there might not be a demand for or a particular ask from our client, but we'll take it on.
Take a test it out just as a result of liking the story and seeing the potential.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I may, I'll, just to give you an example, is several months ago, met a new founder, Aaron Fazali of the Collagen Bar, and at the time we had no really need for a collagen bar, and probably not even today. I'm not too sure, but we have committed to carry that brand this fall, and simply because Aaron has gone through this journey throughout COVID, battling a very rare cancer, which was the exact same cancer that I went through when I had at age of 21, and it was so rare that I've never met anyone else or heard of anyone else.
It's like a light bulb moment. Like I
20
gotta
plus
help this
years.
guy.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? This guy has gone through so much, just like myself, but just to even go through it, through the pandemic, is crazy, and still fight and start up a company, you know what, I got to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's those moments like that where we feel so strongly about and get and touched of a story that we'll commit to it.
Do you think going through that in your life kind of made you who you are today? Like being able to take risk, being able to, step into entrepreneurship. Do you think it really helped, you know, I guess groom you into who you are today?
Absolutely. There's throughout my time battling through cancer. I mean, it was a rough ride for sure.
And at 21,
Yeah,
right? That's like a
21.
pivotal age of like, career path or, learning and
Yes,
things
yes,
like that.
and just you know leaving some friends behind, needing to exit out of university at the time, and not knowing whether or not I was going to survive this
Scary.
disease, right? And fast forward, healthy as can be today, but I think it has taught me a lot of things in life, and how I apply things in work. And there are times as an entrepreneur, sometimes you run into really tough days, and um, you know you might want to just throw in the towel, but just in that instant, because it's been so stressful. But just looking back, I just remind myself, well, look what you have been through. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reminders that I did, particularly um, during the pandemic. And that was a very challenging time for any business. But we're just grateful that we're here today, and that's just a reminder that really anything can be solved just with a positive mind and attitude.
I think that's what I enjoyed most about our conversation we had about a month ago was how honorable and loyal you are, right? It's, you suffered, significant loss as a result of COVID, right? You're servicing office buildings, right? They were the
Mhm.
first to get closed,
Yes.
right? And you have to lay off people. You have to. There's a lot of really tough decisions, and you had to make those tough decisions, but you didn't make them lightly,
Hmm.
right? And you bounce back. You're almost at full capacity again. I think it speaks a lot to who you are and how you conduct business, right? How you treat people, what brands you decide to partner with.
Hmm.
I think we need more of that in business, right? It's defining. Right?
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you. And you know, I couldn't do it uh, just myself. The team is everything from day one, and we're just so grateful. My wife, who's in the business as well, we just make sure that we're always expressing our gratitude to the team. We've been very fortunate that post pandemic, um, a majority of the team returned. Of course, not everyone could, but the team has been very committed to taking mindful snacks to the next level.
Do you mind sharing that story of kind of when things were going downhill around that time? And the only reason why I ask is because now everything's starting to come back, so it's
Hmm.
it's refreshing,
Yeah,
right? But I think that story was very humbling, and when we spoke last, if you could share it.
yeah, sure. Yeah, so I mean, when the you know my I guess rewinding back and thinking back when COVID hit, I was in doubt. Actually, I was like, no, no,
Couple weeks.
yeah, couple of weeks, and here's my dad, who's always you know kind of 5 steps ahead of ahead of
Hmm.
me, just being more cautious, calling me and saying, "Jez, you have to prepare. You have to prepare. I don't think this is going to
Hmm.
be good." And I was like, "No, you know what? We're gonna be out of here in a week." And once it really hit into reality that this is going to be a lot longer, and no one really knows how long, I told myself that I'm going to keep everyone. I'm going to do everything that I can think of to keep every single one of our team members. And because I just didn't believe in laying off people. I mean, we were in control of someone else's livelihood, and we just didn't want to be that company to control that. And it just came down to, as a couple of weeks passed, my VP of sales and my head of operations came to me and said, James, I know you don't want to do this, but you have to. And you can lay us off first. And because reality is, if you don't, you might not be around to take us back. And I think the team will be behind your decision, but you have to do it fast because we're burning cash like no tomorrow and just waiting for business to trickle in. And that was a very tough thing to swallow and hear. And, the day that it happened, we got together in a room. People sensed what was going to come next. I would say it was a teary moment for many. My VP of sales, got up and gave his sort of inspiring speech to say, look, we're going to go through this rough time, but as a team together. But mark my words, when it's over, we have a great opportunity to become stronger and better as a team. And I think throughout that time, it was, there was a lot of things and people that we met that helped us through to survive. And, I've just to share a kind of like this amazing, touching moment that showed there are really good people that exist in this world. And one of our clients, also a technology-based client, but a smaller sized business, husband and wife team, doesn't know me or my wife prior to landing the account, called me up one day during the pandemic. It was 9:30 p.m. And I was like, who's calling me this? And I see the company's name, and I was like, Jesus, like, why did it call me 9:30? But pick up. And on the phone was the founder and the founder's wife, and said, look, James, I know you are going through a tough time because your company depends on offices, but this is what we want to do for you. And because they said in many years ago, someone helped them as well, and they wanted to pay it forward. Wow. And they said, we got this approved from the board of directors, and we want you to swipe our credit card and take that money and put it towards anything that you want in your warehouse, because you gotta have product that's going to hit expiry. Take that and donate it to the food bank, but at least you got money for that. And on top of that, and I thought that's like, wow, that's amazing, you're so generous. And on top of that, what my wife actually broke down was, they said, look, we also want you to take our personal card and give yourself, $2,000 a month towards a income. I know it's not like tons of money, but it's something. And we just want to do that as a personal gesture. So we were just blown away with the generosity. And, we had that kind of followed other companies to do it, with Salesforce being our largest partner, helping us donate 25,000 units of snacks to the healthcare frontline workers. Wow! So it was a great, as bad and tough the pandemic was, there was a lot of good that came out of it, a lot of good people that we met. And today we're here today, and we couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, you couldn't. I'm speechless. That's an incredible story for those people to go out of their way. Like they didn't need to do that. Right? That's incredible. And then Salesforce too, right? For your clients to step up and put up their hand,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because everyone was hurting, right? And I'm sure that was happening all across, the world at the time, right? And I don't think enough of those stories are being told. Yeah, no, that's pretty special. How much inventory do you think you were sitting on when all of this kind of happened, right? Because that's cash
Yes.
that you need to move.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, well north of $250,000.
Right.
Yeah, but we were, again, just knowing that we could help someone else as well. I mean, in total, I think we donated about 12 pallets of various snacks to the food banks, then taking another portion of that and
To healthcare
donating
workers.
to the healthcare
Yeah,
workers.
my wife's a nurse. She definitely had a tough time going through COVID, but she appreciated all the snacks. So she's up at she was Sunnybrook and then went up to RVH up in Barrie.
Okay.
But they were getting so much stuff, and it was like the one thing that made them smile through it all, right? Because it was definitely a horrible time for anybody in that industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's pivot into something a little bit more positive. You've climbed out of that. You're back. Things are getting positive. The office, the workspace environment is growing. People are going back to the office. Where's the business today? How many products now do you offer to offices? You said you started around 10.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity of walking the warehouse. There's probably closer to over 100.
Yes.
Where's the business today?
Definitely a lot different than how when we started, and even just pre-COVID as well. Product SKUs growing rapidly. We're constantly sourcing, and I think it's important to us to remain relevant, and just keeping our programs fresh in the office. So we're probably at its peak, we're up to 300.
Oh wow!
Plus SKUs.
I can't count that well then.
yes. But and probably during your walkthrough, you didn't see a lot of them.
The secret stuff.
Yeah, we work with a number of brands that are on our rotation list, where we can't necessarily hold inventory. Yes. And you probably recall, we have a fairly limited floor space. So that's where some of those ways of pivoting and how we can continuously bring in new products for our offices. So that's and you're right. Like where we are today, right now, couldn't be more grateful and happy. Things are looking up, much stronger, very close to pre-COVID figures.
Incredible.
The team, obviously, not at our full capacity, but we brought on almost everyone back, and we're just continuously expanding our overall services as well.
That's incredible. Are you seeing any unique trends in consumption? Like, what I loved about it too, you're constantly testing. You're like, oh, this one might be good. Oh, no one tried this one for a couple of weeks, right? What are you seeing any trends in certain categories? Are people consuming more bars, or they want more healthy chips, or is it breakfast? What trends are you seeing?
We see a lot of trends going towards plant-based foods. A lot of plant-based protein. Of course, the non-alternative dairy is really hot right now, from oat to macadamia. I mean, I'm seeing things that I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize this could be a non-dairy alternative. Sesame, pistachio, They're all popping up, and I think our offices, clients, where a lot of them are US based, but they have Canadian offices, they get to normally have first taste of these products. And so it's very quickly translating to their Canadian offices wanting to be part of that sort of first mover. We're also seeing trends in more premium craft sodas. So again, really pushing the dial and seeing where brands can take something that is traditionally maybe consumed very high of such as pop, but then making it with a little bit more time and love and with better ingredients, and whether that might be a prebiotic or probiotic soda. We're seeing those are coming into play and into the office space. A lot of functional foods, chocolates becoming a very hot category right now. And I can tell you, we shied away from chocolate for ages and ages, and simply because we could not, at the time of launch, we could not find a chocolate that we would be proud of carrying and aligned to the mindful mission. But today, fast forward, I mean, there's
a lot to choose from.
Incredible brands out there that's taking it to the next level. So those are some of the trends that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's funny. We sat down with our marketing team and we were chatting with Poco, who use service to I think LinkedIn and a few other tech offices. And one of our employees actually has a friend that works at Salesforce, and he sent her a picture and he was snacking on 2 bags of the spicy Poco.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny. He's like, I love these things, and he loves having the healthy options at the cafes and stuff. So it was a pretty funny moment. How do brands get in touch with you? Like, how do they do business with you, right? Because it's my world is we got to pitch the grocery buyer, it's very strategic. It's all about price. It's all about promoting high, low, stack big displays and, drive volume. That's not the case with you. You get to choose what goes into those cafes. It's free to the consumer, right? So it's like you're the barrier of entry. You're the man, right? I almost don't even want to do this podcast because too many people are going to be coming after you. You're like a secret weapon, right? But how, and the purpose of this podcast is to help more brands grow, get the word out and to support friends. How do brands get in touch with you, and how do they do business with you?
So we're constantly getting brand inquiries to work with us. Probably anywhere from 5 to a dozen brands almost every week that get in touch with us. And truthfully, we can't carry everything, but we will never turn down an opportunity to talk to a founder and a brand to learn about them. And I will always tell a brand that, even if it's a no today, keep in touch.
It's an opportunity tomorrow.
There will be an opportunity at some point, whether it's through Mindful Snacks or, we're more than happy to put you in touch, even directly to our customer as well. But you're absolutely right. We have the luxury to put a brand in an office as long as it meets all the criteria and parameters of the office, such as cost, budget, pack size sometimes comes into a factor, and sometimes an office might have certain very specific criteria. What is the brand? How is the brand giving back to the community? Is it sustainable? So if those items check off, then absolutely, we'll put a brand in, test it out. Most times, I will say at least 9 out of 10, it works. Other times requires a product demo. And so this is something I tell all brands and to get them excited as because we're excited as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is every quarter we launch a product demo within our clients, and it's part of our business review that we do with our
Yeah.
clients. How can we improve the program? Let's tie this in with a product demo, and we and
What does
that's
a product demo look like in that environment? Is it you get people to actually go to the office and sample it, talk about it, tell their
yeah.
story?
Yeah, so there's two ways of doing it. It's sometimes it can be as elaborate as a lunch and learn,
Hmm.
but other times it's simple as it's our team. We allocate anywhere from 2 to 3 hours for a product demo. We normally will invite the founder or someone on their leadership team to talk about the brand, because there's no better way than a brand's founder coming to share their story. And we'll lay out about five iPad tablets, asking questions to the employees and to the company's leadership team. And those questions are surrounding, what they enjoy about the product, what they don't like, how they think it could be improved. And with this data, I think it's just so valuable, not only for our office client, but for the brand themselves, because right after the demo, we share that
The
with the
brand.
brand founder, and then we roughly in about 1 to 2 weeks, our customer will decide what whether or not the product is going to go in or which flavors are going to start
Cool. And that's in person?
in
It's like a
person.
live.
In person,
Cool.
yes.
We should talk out. We should try to do something with a number of our brands
Yeah,
with Murray and we can do a test, right?
yeah.
We know a lot of founders are um yeah, that's a cool opportunity. I never thought they'd be willing to do that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's almost like they're over there and they're scary to deal with, but it's
Yeah,
at the end of the day they're just consumers that want better for you products.
yeah, yeah. A lot of our office clients see it as a way for increasing employee
Yeah,
engagement,
exactly.
and it's a nice fun break,
Mhm.
and we have some companies that actually mandate, once we have it in there, they are to really step away from their screens and phone calls, and just enjoy some some free snacks.
Yeah. That'd be exciting to do. Um what advice would you give aspiring entrepreneur in the CBG space right now?
I would say, you know go for it. If you have an idea, go for it. You got to take a risk. And but I think another important thing is just being authentic, right? And being authentic to yourself, to the brand that you're trying to create. Don't get too distracted to what what might be out there. And that's even just for personally, for mindful. It was, it's sometimes tough to say no to requests that deviates from the mindfulness mission of providing healthier snacks. And sometimes it's, James, can we have this candy bar? But if you got to look at what's what's what what are you trying to achieve, what's the mission, and looking at towards the greatest purpose of your company. And so be authentic, go for it. Don't give up. Always remember that there are some great people out there that are willing to help. Um, get out there and meet as many people as you can. And I think that's just critical to continue to grow as a person and grow the brand.
Yeah, no, I love that. this weekend, or no, next weekend's the Canadian Health Food Association trade show, right? You'll be
Yes.
attending.
Yes.
What day are you going? What you're walking around? You
Yes.
said.
I believe this year we're going to go, or myself, I'm going to go almost every day this
Awesome.
year.
Awesome. So if a brand wants to hunt you down at the
Yeah.
show, look for a James Mindful Snacks
Yes.
name tag, and maybe you'll get your products on into the cafes of all the tech offices in Ontario. But I really appreciate you doing this. Mindfulsnacks.ca.
.com.
.com. You can go check out and learn more about Mindful Snacks. You can find James on LinkedIn if you want to get a hold of him. He's getting quite a few emails, so you might have to be a little sneaky in how to get into his DMs or into his emails. But no, I really appreciate you coming on. It was awesome. I really enjoyed this chat.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me, Kyle, and looking forward to grow more our product list. And
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.